today's project, make sure you can see what I'm doing here. Maybe I'll turn the camera a little, show you. I've drawn out a little gnome or wood sprite, combination thereof. Maybe they're related, maybe they're not. But I thought I would just give it a go on this little old scrap of 2x4 and see where we went from there. So thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me as I figure my way through this. All right. Trying to find your best angle for viewing. Looks like about there. Or maybe here. How about right there? If you will kindly bear with me, I am getting over a cold and I sound like a foghorn. Getting into this carving, and people like Deland, Amy Jo, Jordy make this look so easy. The tool, I get better as it goes along, but in the first part, I'm just clearing out material, corners and roughing out the edge of my hat there on the gnome. And, the burr might be shaped one way, but it does not behave in the way I imagined it would behave just because it was shaped that way. So here I'm roughing out the nose and the eyes. And the eyes were particularly tough. I don't know how anyone else does it, but it seemed like no matter how I tried to shape the eyes, they didn't look good to me. And then I come back to that, probably 6 or 7 times during the length of the video. I've sped this up and I'm doing the voiceover because the tool noise, it's like listening to a dentist drill. Nobody wants to sit and listen to that for 15 minutes. So I've got the basic shape, and the nose is a little odd, but it's a gnome. They're kind of cute, and I reckon I didn't really need to do the eyes because ordinarily, it's a big floppy hat and bulbous nose and beard and a mustache, sometimes with or without a little lip pooched out there. So I decided I would go in and with a pencil and kind of highlight some things, because when you're doing this and the sawdust starts to pile up, you gotta clean that off pretty frequently. Otherwise, I couldn't see what I was carving. But as far as, being a hard thing to do, holding the tool is easy. Controlling the tool is easy. But this is like the fine detail arm of woodworking. You're not gluing together panels and you're not making boxes or cutting joints or any of that stuff. This is super detailed stuff. Not that, joinery is not complex. I can't hand-cut dovetails. I'm working on that. But this is one of those skills, like those hand-cut dovetails, where it's going to require a lot of practice and a lot of patience. And I don't mind the practice, but the patience is a work in progress. I'm not a patient person. I would love to be. This little scrap of 2x4, comes from the crookedest tree in the world, and those are the ones that they make big box 2x4s out of. So I'm gonna work the details. I'm working on the cheeks now and working on the eyebrows now. I'm not sure why I kept moving the material to the side, other trying to get a better grip on it. And Alright, so there I'm working the beard and the mouth, and then now I'm back up here around the nose and the cheeks. And it goes pretty good. It's just one of those things where you look at it one way and you like it, you look at it another way and you think, that looks terrible. And you get back in there and you work on it a little more, and these little carbide bits are, they're not the fancy stuff. They're, some of them came with like this little Dremel bit set, some of them, and then others came in a set that I ordered from Temu. And believe it or not, the Temu bits work pretty good. This little rasper right here was really good at hogging out lots of material. It's good for shaping, not what you would consider a fine detail tool, even though I was kind of using the top edge of it to make some lines. Looks like I need to draw myself a square and not move the material out of it, because I'm getting to the edge of the screen and it's making it difficult for me to narrate. It had to be difficult for y'all to watch too. But as far as the carving, it is relaxing. Like, you can just get in there and just kind of do your thing. And of course YouTube doesn't, they won't monetize a video if you're using licensed music. So, playing my tunes while I'm doing this is kind of out of the question. But I would put on a slow blues and just carve and carve and carve. It was fun. You got that knot there. I work around it a little bit. I grind on it a little bit. Move it around. Stare at it. Give it dirty looks. Call it a couple of names. And then get right back into it. But it goes well. And you can see the outline and the shape of the gnome a lot better than I thought you might be able to, as my phone was pointed down at my work surface, and so I had to like pause and hunker down and see if you could even see what was going on. The poor guy has such misshapen eyes. He's like the fella from the Goonies, if you remember that movie from the 1980s. If you're too young to understand the Goonies, or to know who the Goonies are, you need to go and find you a copy of the Goonies and just watch it. It was a great movie. And by great, I mean it was like action, it was silliness, it was comedy, and it's like these kids in these very adult roles. They're like little detectives solving a crime or whatever. It's hilarious. I love it. Still watch it once in a while. Alright, there we go. We're getting better. At least it looks like a person. Sorta. Well, not really, but it looks like a gnome. All of the grown-up carvers will look at that and say, poor guy. But I'm enjoying myself. It's good. I did finally get a little merch page set up. I've got t-shirts and sweatshirts on it right now. I'm trying to figure out how to link it to my YouTube page for only those two items. So we're getting it together. I'm kind of smoothing out some things and detailing, and I'm kind of getting to the point where I recognize that I need more practice, and So, you know, this is not going to be as perfect as I imagine it, as you might say. So I'm just, you know, emphasizing some lines and smoothing some things out. And so there we are. Alright, so my mic's dead. It's getting long in the afternoon. Going to have to charge up all of this stuff, but I'm going to finish what I'm working on first. So I was trying to locate the little brush for my Dremel, and you'll see here in a moment I got that little detail brush, and then I'll mask up and just go ahead and there we go. Alright, and so I'm getting a little of the sawdust out of the cracks and crevices. I'm sure there's probably a better way to do that. In the future, I might use a small attachment for my shop vac. But it just seemed to me there was a lot of dust even after I cleaned it out. And so we'll get through that. And right, here we are. Not quite perfect, not bad either. Alright, so does it look like anything? Let me know. Thank you. Alright, so my first carving effort, pretty sure it's not quite a gnome. It might be a cousin of Quasimodo. Anyway, let me know what you think. I plan to practice carving, but who knows if I'll ever develop the skill. But I plan to keep at it. There'll be a video from time to time. I want to bring together a lot of skills into different projects, and some of those things I've just never done before. So, thank you for joining along, and I'll see you next one. If you haven't, please like, share, subscribe, comment once in a while, especially if they're good comments. But even constructive criticism is always welcome. Thank you.